I'm at Toronto Motorsports Park in Canada with the TheStraightPipes. Oh, you look so good. I have the 2019 brand new Miata with the updated engine and the 2016 Miata Cup Car. And we're gonna take a look at why these things are so amazing and maybe why they're not. You ready, guys?
Start your engine!
And of course, you can't talk about the Miata Cup Car without going to its home, Long Road Racing. And this entire business was built by the Long family, and it started, go figure, racing cars. And not only racing cars, winning, and winning a lot, and winning in Mazda vehicles. So it makes sense that they would create a whole setup for building a cup car for Mazda and the entire world. It's all done here. Now, you may get tired of parade lapping around. You may eventually want competition, and racing is extremely expensive. Everybody knows that. It's like setting money on fire. And this is one of the lowest cost of entry aside from a kart that you can get. And one of the best parts about it is you see the level at which these people work to get this car set up. There's so much attention to detail. So you want to buy one, 60 grand. You place an order with Long Road Racing. They bring in a sport model directly from Mazda. The sport model is pretty much stripped down, so they don't have to waste a ton of money stripping all these parts off. It comes in to the intake area. They take dashboard out, seats, all the miscellaneous parts, and put it on a cart, VIN match, so they can't lose track of stuff, and they know if there's a recall where the parts are. They strip all that down, they get everything ready to scrape body adhesives or sealers off so they can sand it down and smooth everything out because they paint the interior part. They do the cage work here, they do the body work. All of this is done in-house. Now, Long Road doesn't make all their parts, of course, that would be too much work. Now, they do manufacture certain things like the sway bars, the brackets, the ballast boxes, things that they could easily do. And then they go to other OEMs like Goodrich for the stainless steel lines or Brembo for the brakes. Now, once everything's stripped down and they're ready to do reassembly, all these different parts come onto the car, like the Brembo brakes, the Multimatic dampers, the adjustable sway bar end links, and then, of course, all the coolers for the transmission, engine, and differential. And again, the cooler's C-Trab. So they're trying to use parts that are readily available so they don't have to have a huge backlog. If they need parts, they can get it easily. And that's one of the coolest parts, that's one of the coolest things about this car is, it's really well sorted. They have really good quality in terms of checking, rechecking things. It looks like a completed race car that you would buy from a manufacturer or a major manufacturer, and they're all doing it here. It employs people, and it supplies that niche market, the people who like to go racing with a pretty neat product, honestly. And getting it out on track, that's one of the most important things. So let's meet up with the TheStraightPipes in Canada and check it out. So one of the first things we're gonna do with the pipes is we're gonna take the 2019 Mazda Miata out on the track, or MX-5, and we're gonna see how much different it is from the previous generation, well, the first generation ND, and then of course we're gonna compare it to the Cup Car. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm so excited.
You guys know I love Miatas.
I love race cars.
That's good.
Do you have a poster above your bed of a Miata?
No, I don't think my wife would let me have posters at the age of 31.
Oh, too bad. All right, let's take a look. All right, I'm setting off in the 2019 Miata here, and I'm gonna roll up the windows just to give you some commentary about this car. The first thing you're gonna notice is the engine is so much better. This is exactly how the Miata should have been to start with, and it revs out cleanly. It has a higher red line. It feels extremely good and powerful. It's not as edgy as the S2000 or peaky, but honestly, if you want a new Miata with almost all of what the S2000 is in terms of motor and transmission, this is a great car. Now, like many Miatas, what you expect is there is a lot of compliance, there's a lot of roll because this is set up for the street first. So they also set this up because they know it's a feeder car, and they want to teach people weight transfer control. So if you go and just annihilate the brakes and get this thing to pitch and roll, and you have to be smoother on your inputs. If I jerk second gear too hard, it upsets the car so much. So what this car is going to teach you to do is be smooth. If you're looking for some type of edgy driving experience, you know, you're going to have to do some modifications to the suspension on this for sure. So this is my first time at Toronto Motorsports Park, which is kind of a club track. This definitely favors lighter weight, lower horsepower cars. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, that's also the cool part about it is this is right at home here. The tight turns, if you stab the brakes and trail braking, it rotates. And it seems like that's exactly how you have to drive this car here to get it around, is to try to get that tail to move with you instead of fighting it. Otherwise, you're just going to understeer all over the place. And patience, right? I mean, they talk about this with slow cars or momentum cars. You have to do that with the Miata, but you also have to be smooth and understand what the car is doing. Teaches you how to drive better because you do have to be more patient, you do have to be more smooth. This is not a car that rewards jerky or asshole driving, but you can do it if you want. All right, we just got back from driving the new ND Miata 2019. What'd you feel?
Love the red line.
Yeah, that was really good. I loved controlling the body roll and using it to my advantage.
I think I spent so much time at like 7,000 that I couldn't go back to an older Miata now.
Yeah, the shift points are almost perfect for this track. There's like a couple little spots where like 200 extra RPM would be just right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is a club track, and when you say that, it's not like a circuit has longer straights. This is so short, it just, you maximize what the Miata is here. It feels like a supercar, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
The new red line, I have to agree with you. It just makes this car, it's everything that that first generation ND was missing. It's amazing, really.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
You own an S2000?
Yes.
Compare the S2000 to the 2019 Miata.
All right, so I'll just say it pretty much like this. It's really close. Obviously, it's not as powerful. It doesn't sound as good still. It doesn't have that S2000 like potency, the VTEC sound that people love. But really, if you're looking for a new roadster, this is lighter. All the parts that are out there for it. I mean, if all this car needs to be amazing is a set of dampers and real tires, and you could probably annihilate a regular stock S2000, no problem. It's really rewarding, and you get a warranty. So it's a big highlight. It's great. All right, before we get onto the track and the Cup Car, we need to talk about the American 2019 Mazda MX-5 Touring version, which gives you these leather seats, seat heaters, just a more comfortable ride. This feels like something you could literally drive everywhere, and I think that's the whole point of it, honestly. It's an everyday driver that gives you the kind of comfortable, most usable aspect that the Miata has to offer. Even when the soft top is up, it's not completely noisy, but you know all that already. You've seen my video on the MX-5, you've seen the video on the RF. Now it's time to talk about this new motor on the street. And I think a lot of people are downplaying just how much of a difference this engine makes. So let's just downshift here and get right into it. It doesn't have like that high cam switchover excitement like that the S2000 has, or cars that used to do that. It's just smooth all the way up. It sounds good, it revs effortlessly, and it doesn't sound like a total piece of shit like the the F20 does, or the F820 on the Subaru FRS and BRZ. That is like one of the worst examples of a naturally aspirated motor, and this is kind of back to how it should be in a car like this. You never want to stop just pounding it. You want to shift, you want to downshift, you want to rev it out all the time. I love it. All right, now that we've got done babbling about that, let's take a drive in the 2016 Global Cup Car. Now this has the original ND motor in it, so we're probably gonna have a little bit of a culture shock.
Yeah, lower red line.
Yeah.
Let's
This
do
should
it.
be interesting.
You know, it's gonna be real interesting. This is your first time in a race car, right?
Yeah.
A real race car?
My
Yeah,
first time.
both of us.
Anything with like roll cages and like switches for stuff.
Yeah. Toggle switches.
Yeah, we had some footage of these guys trying to get in. That was just like watching an animal trying to figure out how to use a toilet for the first time.
Pretty much like a giraffe giving birth.
Yeah, it was really pretty awkward.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look at that drive. Setting off in the Miata Cup Car. As you can hear, this is not a normal Miata. It's fully prepped in America, factory built and purpose built to be a machine for racing in a series that is all about evenness, leveling the playing field. So it's a driver's series. No cheating is allowed. You can't open up the trans, the diff, the engine, and that's one of the best parts about this, is you can get into a car like this for $60,000 and go racing. Now, of course, that doesn't cover all your entry fees and all that other crap, but you know, to get a real car that's all prepped with the safety equipment, the fire suppression, the brakes, the cooling, everything's been done for you here. So now all you have to figure out is how to trailer the car there and work on your driving skill, and this is extremely easy to do. This is a very approachable car to drive. In fact, if you remove all the weirdness of the safety equipment, you realize quickly it's very much like driving a regular Miata, and that's because it is. The best ways to get heat into the R comps is brakes. You know, hotter brake temperatures transfer the energy into the tires, get them heated up. Here, from cold, it took probably 5 or 6 laps before I really felt confident that I could just start nailing it. Other than that, it would get real squirrely real fast. So we're in the hottest part of the day. Confidence is high. You have to be very smooth with this car. You have to stay ahead of it. It's a momentum car, so you just have to keep the speed up. It's like a cart. As soon as you lose momentum, you lose a lot of time. It's a lot of fun though. The 2019 Miata with the new motor, and I think that's going to take this thing to the next level when they get that in here. You run out of revs real quick with this. Whoa! So I'm talking about, there's that split moment where you have grip and you don't have grip, so you gotta be on your game to catch it. But that's what makes it fun and challenging to drive this. All right, boys, we just got back with the Cup Car, and that's quite an experience. What do you think?
It is a lot of work. There's so much going on, but it does handle way better, and we were all faster, so.
Yeah, I mean, race car faster than regular car. It works.
But is it like but the amount of time you take off your lap, is it worth it compared to the 2019 regular Miata?
I think so, because of the overall experience. That's it. Just the actual experience of being in a race car, it feels so different.
How about you?
Like, what did you feel? Like, what was it about it? Since you've never been in a race car, did it exceed your expectations, or was it about what you thought it would be? Like, what was the biggest surprise about it?
The grip, the suspension, the loudness of the exhaust in my head, the shift lights, all that stuff.
Hitting your head on the roll cage? 'cause you're
Yeah,
too
me
tall?
not fitting. Yeah, so I don't fit in race cars. That's what I learned today as well. So the roll bars were basically right between my helmet. So I was just getting bashed off the roll bars the entire time. So I kind of have a headache right now. Did you enjoy your time in the Cup Car?
I did. I think the biggest surprise for me was, again, like you said, the grip levels. Going from regular street tires coming out of this thing, it's like rolling around like, you know, a sofa getting tipped over. And this is, you have to warm up the tires. Like, it takes about 5 or 6 laps to get heat into the tires. And then, you know, you start to get confidence, and there's that razor thin window where it's like, okay, I got grip. Yeah, this guy found it.
I spun out. We got the footage right here. But I kept my foot on the clutch, didn't stall it, spun back around, kept going.
There you go.
So proud of myself.
That was good.
But it's challenging. It's not intimidating. Like,
it's
you
not.
got into it.
It wasn't intimidating, but there's a lot going on. So if I took maybe a full day's worth of laps in there, I'd probably be fully comfortable.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, at first I had to get over the claustrophobia I have because it's so tight in there.
Yeah.
But after I go over that, it didn't take very long. I just had to hear that exhaust on the first and second gear.
The exhaust is really good for a Miata.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Final thoughts on the 2019 Miata or MX-5, and of course the Cup Car. Now, one of the biggest things to talk about with these vehicles is simple. What other company is as committed to making a grassroots style affordable sports car for a driver that comes from the factory with extreme lightweight, 50-50 balance, and 50% cross balance? Not only that, adjustable suspension, camber, caster, tow. This is such a big deal because you have to go into extreme cost to get this type of thing. And, you know, other companies may make fun to drive cars like the GTIs, the Type Rs and all that, but you can't go out and race those cars like this. And Mazda has a program with Long Road Racing to make a Cup Car where you can literally buy it, trailer it to a track, and compete in a driver series where the only thing that matters is skill level. And of course, if you have money to do it. Now, there are some amazing things about this 2019. And if you have a previous Cup Car, like we drove the 2016 with the old motor, Long Road Racing is announcing their 2019 Cup Car also with a retrofit kit. So if you have a previous generation car, you don't have to buy a brand new one. You can buy the kit that has the motor, the new coolers, the new Bosch ECU, all that stuff you can put in your old car to compete with the 2019s. And honestly, if you're on the fence about it, I would do it. It makes such a huge difference. In fact, when we got out on track, I would prefer to drive the 2019 non-Cup Car than I would the older Cup Car, as long as it had suspension and tires on it. That's how much better the motor felt to me. Now, in terms of other things, there are some issues with the car. You know, this is not something you're gonna daily drive. I mean, you could if you're in better climate, but it is very small on the inside. Even with the new adjusting telescoping wheel, you can finally adjust it. I don't see too many people using this every day. It's kind of a toy. There's not a lot of trunk space, but honestly, just saying this, I would absolutely consider getting a 2019 Miata and selling my S2000 for it. That's how good it is. Now, of course, the big thing is it's way too soft. For me, if you're somebody that has a higher skill level, it's way too soft of a car. It's more skewed for the street, so you would have to modify it. But one of the things that I thought was cool at being at Long Road is if I bought one of those cars, I could legitimately bring it to them and have them swap in a lot of the Cup Car parts for the street, like the Multimatic dampers. I mean, you're just not going to get that level of suspension for a lot of cars. It's so well sorted that you could do a lot of the things that they do to a Cup Car, to a street car, and still be legal. So that's neat. Kind of the last part about it is the negatives. The transmission. And I've had people comment on my live streams, in my videos, message me. They've bought MX-5s because they love them, the NDs, and they've had tons of problems with the transmissions. Some people are on their second revision or second transmission. I don't know what Mazda's doing with it. I know that they're working on several newer versions of it. Long Road Racing changes the third and fourth gear set by default on all their Cup Cars. So they take the trans apart first, and put new gears in it, as you can see here. They've kind of told me that Mazda has been working on it. What they're specifically doing besides a motorsports application, I don't know. If you're having problems with your trans, contact Mazda, post in this video, they're gonna see it. Hopefully they can help you out. That's about all I can say about it. But other than that negative part, this is just a great car. Now let's head back to Canada magically and close this out with Yuri and Jacob. You know, with all this scaffolding, you really could fit cup holders and a whole bunch of accessories if you wanted to.
You know they did a visor delete?
Oh, I saw that. Are you guys pissed?
No.
Disappointed.
No, I'm not.
No, we're not disappointed.
Because they deleted the infotainment.
That would
too.
technically be a supercar pass.
Exactly.
We need to do a race car checklist next.
Yeah, I guess we do.
Look at that carbon fiber plate in the middle.
Oh, I looked at it.
That's
Kinda
what should be in
distracted
every Miata. Get rid of that stupid screen.
I am so sick of fake carbon fiber in cars.
That's real carbon.
I know, I'm joking, man.
This is the Straight Pipes. Go to their channel, watch their videos. They're better than mine. They're more popular. They're more attractive. They're more muscular. And that's why you're going to ring that bell, bro.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe.
Hit the bell on this channel.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you later.